Hurt and grievous hurt. Section 319 to Section 338 of the Indian Penal Code deals with the causing hurt and grievous hurt and punishment for them. Section 319 defines hurt and Section 320 defines grievous hurt. Section 319, as per bare language of Section 319, the bare provision says, whoever causes bodily pain, disease, or infirmity to any person is said to cause hurt. There is three main ingredients for Section 319. Number one is bodily pain, number two disease, and number three is infirmity. If a person caused these three particular ingredient to another person, then it is caused to hurt. Hurt means causing of pain, disease, or infirmity by any person to another. Such pain, etc., may not be caused by direct physical contact between the accused and the victim. Hurt may be caused by some voluntary act of the accused. Causing of nervous shock or mental derangement by some voluntary act of the offender is also covered by this section. The duration of mental infirmity is not important. As I have written in this particular PPT, duration is not important in this particular section. Act which are neither intended nor likely to cause death amount to hurt. It may be also grievous hurt, but according to the nature, it can be decided that that particular harm is hurt or grievous hurt. The nature of injury caused by the person is important in this particular section. Bodily pain, disease, and infirmity, as I have earlier said, is important for hurt. The bodily pain, I have written, bodily pain covers all type of pain except so slight harm of which no person of ordinary sense complained it. Means ordinary hurt is not essential in this particular section. Pulling of a woman by hair could amount to hurt in this particular section. The case of Abdul Sattar versus Srimati Moti Bai is important to discuss here. In this case, the accused went with the Nazir of a court to execute a decree for ejectment from a house which they had obtained against their sister's husband B. Delivery of possession was resisted by the accused sister, the complainant, on the ground that the house belongs to her and she was not a party to decree. The accused forcibly dragged the complainant out of house. The accused were guilty under this section because she was not a party of decree. Now come to the infirmity. Infirmity means inability of an organ to perform its normal function. It may be temporary or permanent. It denotes an unsound and unhealthy state of the body or mind, such as a state of temporary impairment or terror. Act neither intended or nor likely to cause death, because sometimes it happened that hurt may cause death. So students kindly read the PPT. Where there is no intention to cause death but it caused death, the accused is guilty of hurt only if the injury caused was not serious. If the injury was serious and it may cause death, then section 319 is not applicable. In the case of Naga Sopo, accused struck a man one blow on his head by bamboo yoke. The injured person was died in hospital from excessive use of opium. The accused was guilty of an offense under this section because there was no intention to cause death and one blow is not sufficient for death. In this case, the cause of death is excessive use of opium and not the attack by a single bamboo. Now, there is spleen cases. It is also necessary in this regard. A woman died from a chance kick in the spleen inflicted by her husband on provocation. Her husband did not know about the spleen being diseased and had no intention or knowledge that the act was likely to cause hurt, endangering human life. It was held that he was guilty under this section. And in another case, the case of Ranadhir Singh, the accused caused death of a person by throwing a piece of brick at him, which struck him in the region of spleen, and the spleen is ruptured. The spleen was already diseased. Since the accused did not have the intention to cause death or such bodily injury as was likely to cause death, he was liable for causing hurt only. Now come to the poisoning case. The case of Anis Beg is important here. In this case, the accused, aged about 16 years, was in love with a girl who has 3 to 4 years younger to him. The accused, intending to administer to her something in the nature of love, induced another younger than himself to give the girl some sweetmeats, which was taken by the girl as well as were her family members. All those who took it was seized with more or less violent symptom of dhatura poisoning, though none of them died. The evidence did not show that the boy who actually handed over the sweetmeats knew that they contained anything harmful. The accused was guilty of causing hurt. The kicking. Kicking is also an important aspect in the hurt cases. In a Marana Gondan case, the case is important here. The accused demanded 1 anna for the disease which the latter owed him. The deceased promised to pay later. Thereafter, the accused kicked him twice on the abdomen and the deceased collapsed and died. The accused was held guilty of causing hurt as it could not be said that the intended or knew that kicking on the abdomen was likely to endanger life. Now come to the grievous hurt. The grievous hurt discussed in section 320 of Indian Penal Code. Section 320, as enumerated in this section, there are 8 categories of hurt which can only design to grievous hurt. The first one is emasculation. The second one is permanent privation of the sight of either eye. The third one, permanent privation of the hearing of either ear. Fourth one, privation of any member or joint. Fifth one, destruction or permanent impairing of the power of any member or joint. Sixth one, permanent disfiguration of the head or face. Seventh one, fracture or dislocation of a bone or tooth. Eighth one, any hurt which endanger life or which causes the sufferer to be during the space of 20 days in severe bodily pain or unable to follow his ordinary pursuits. There are 8 provisions which have been discussed in penal provision या bare provision of this particular section. Grievous hurt is a more serious kind of hurt. It must be a hurt of any kind stated in this particular section, and it also must be voluntarily inflicted. The number one is emasculation. Emasculation means to deprive of virile or procreative power, to deprive of masculine vigor or spirit, or to castrate. Depriving of a person of masculine vigor, castration, it may become in the purview of emasculation. Causing such injury to the short term as would render a man impotent is covered by this term. Causing injury to himself resulting in emasculation is not within the purview of this section. What is required by this section is voluntarily causing such injury to another which deprives that person of his masculine vigor. The number 2 is disfiguration. Disfiguration means causing such injury to a man which detracts from his personal appearance but does not weaken him. For example, cutting off a man's nose or ear or injury resulting in some permanent mark on the face of a person. Where the cheek of a girl were branded with a red hot iron which left scars of permanent character, the injury was held to be disfiguration. Number 3 is the word used in section 320, fracture or dislocation of bone. In common parlance, it means breaking through, but it is not necessary that in order that there should be a fracture, the entire depth of bone need be broken. Now we can more elaborate this particular point. Fracture or dislocation of a bone is also considered to be a grievous hurt because it causes great pain to the person injured. Maybe that the bone fracture may be rejoined or the more bone dislocated may be reset. But this does not alter the nature of injury because a paining suffered it caused to the victim. Ordinarily, fracture means breaking, but in certain cases, bone may not be break. There may be only crack. For example, fracture of skull bone. But if it is a crack, it must extend from the outer surface of the skull to inner surface. If a cut results only in the scratch and does not go deep into any length into the bone, it cannot be deemed a fracture. But where the bone has been cut to the depth to half an inch, it would be a case of fracture. Hurt that injuring endangering to life. This word, which is used in 8 clause of section 2320, will not only apply to cases wherein the life was not only endangered but was actually taken away. For example, a knife blow on the abdomen applies sharp edged weapon on the neck is come within the purview of this particular point. Now, there is some more explanation about this point. Any hurt with endangered life? When the hurt inflicted in such as only endanger life, it would be grievous hurt, and if it is likely to cause death, it would amount to culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. The distinction between culpable homicide not amounting to murder and grievous hurt is very thin. It means there is very thin line between grievous hurt and culpable homicide not amount to murder. In case of grievous hurt, the injury which is actually founded should itself be such that it may put the life of the injured in danger. For example, a wound of neck inflicted with a sharp edged weapon is considered to danger to life. Hurt which causes suffered severe bodily pain. As you have seen in 8th clause of section 220, under clause 8 on injury would amount to grievous hurt if it causes the sufferer to be during the space of 20 days in severe bodily pain or unable to follow his ordinary pursuit. The mere fact that the sufferer was hospitalized for 20 or more days would not amount to sufficient. He must have been during that period unable to follow his ordinary pursuit. Continuous of severe bodily pain for 20 days or disability to follow one's avocation for 20 days constitute grievous hurt. If it continues for a period less than 20 days, it would be an offense of hurt. Now, there are some other discussions diseased spleen. If the spleen is diseased, then what happened? In case of Bharat Singh, the accused, in order to rescue his cattle, which were impounded by diseased, gave him a sound beating for his refusal to surrender the cattle. The deceased, who was an old man, aged about 60, suffering from enlarged heart, succumbed to the injuries. The accused was held guilty of causing grievous hurt because he had no knowledge of condition of the deceased. Now there are some other important point which have been discussed in this particular segment. The point is, act neither intended or nor likely to cause death may amount to grievous hurt even though death is caused. If there was no intention to cause death or no intention to cause such bodily injury as was likely to cause death, or no knowledge that death was likely to be caused from the harm inflicted, and the death is actually caused, the accused would be guilty of voluntarily causing grievous hurt if the injury caused by was a serious nature. There are cases. In Gornvallu case, the accused, in his bid to steal, snatched the nose ring of a woman, resulting in cutting of the nostril and death of the woman. He was held guilty under this section and not for murder, because death was entirely unexpected and cutting the nostrils was to facilitate the theft. Means in this case, the theft, the accused want to snatch the nose ring which was beared by a lady, and he was snatched. The lady shocked and death occurred. It was said that there is it is only the case of grievous hurt. Now come to the another case. The Formina Sebastian Araggio versus State of Goa. The deceased, named Orlando, was making publicity about the illicit intimacy between Ian and his maternal aunt W. It is alleged that on the fateful days, N, W, and A, the husband of W, caught hold of D and tied him to an electric pole with a rope and beat him, as a result of which he died, because the person, the deceased, make publicity the illicit relations. None of them was armed with deadly weapons, and none express his intention by word or by gesture to put an end to the life of deceased. N and W, the accused, did so simply to teach N and W both did so simply to teach D a lesson for spreading scandalous information or false information about their relationship, their illicit relationship. There was no evidence that attributes defines overt act to any of the accused, and it was held that in the absence of any definite evidence attributing a specific overt act to any of the appellants, it would not be safe to allege that the appellants intended to cause the death of the deceased. Hence, the offence would be punishable under 326 in so far as N and W are concerned, but A was entitled to acquittal for want of proper evidence against him. This is the case of grievous hurt. Now come to the another point where the accused aim a blow at one person but it fall upon another, then he may be guilty of grievous hurt or culpable homicide not amounting to murder depending upon the nature of injury. I want to like to repeat this point where the accused aims a blow at one person but the blow falls upon another and he may be the person he may be guilty of grievous hurt or culpable homicide not amounting to murder. What is important is here the importance is nature of injury. If the nature of injury is applicable causes culpable homicide not amounting to murder or grievous hurt, it depends upon the nature of injury. The case of Cure, in Cure, K-U-R-E, Cure, the 1919 केस ये जो है 1919 का है. There are two parties exchanged blow in a public place. In the course of fight, the complainant, a girl of tender age, was sitting very close by the side of her father. She received a severe blow on the head, resulting that particular girl of tender age was died. The accused was held guilty of causing grievous hurt. Now come to the another case, that is State versus Sivlingaya. In this case, there is sudden fight squeezed the testicles of the deceased, causing him shock and cardiac arrest, and this shock and cardiac arrest resulting the death of that particular person. The accused was held guilty of causing grievous hurt under clause 8 of section 320 of Indian Penal Code, as his act had endangered the life of the deceased. So students, these are the two sections 319 and 320, and it is explained in your syllabus, and it is the first aspect of your BA LLB syllabus. Hurt and grievous hurt. Hurt may be caused grievous hurt if there are 8 categories which are described under 320 are applied. Then this hurt may be become grievous hurt. Kindly note down the cases which have been discussed in particular sections. This is the important aspect, section 319, section 320, and kindly read the bare provision very thoroughly and explain all these points. Thank you.